Right, so welcome everyone. Welcome to our Call IS Tech Talks of the month. And our presenter is here, and that's Samantha Lee Butler and Riza Arkonsag, who's also here, and she's going to introduce our speaker. Hi, Riza.
Hi, Dr. Nelly. Hi, everyone. I am very pleased to introduce to you our speaker for this evening. Samantha Lee Butler has been in the education field for 16 years. She recently worked in China and now she's stationed in the United States as the Director of Education for LifePlus schools for the past 3 years, helping all 8 international schools under LifePlus to acclimate to a hybrid-like environment and use online tools effectively. It is really indeed a pleasure to have Samantha Lee Butler with us this evening.
Awesome sauce. Hi, everybody. Lee Butler here. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about AI tools. I am not endorsed by any of these AI tools. These are just tools that I use personally and that I've helped other teachers use personally as well. So throughout this presentation, we're going to be going back and forth between the slides presentation and my online app so you can see how the apps are used. So please be patient with my presentation skills. I do work a lot online, but I usually don't present my slides because I have to go back and forth so often. All right, so here we go. So today we're going to be going over 6 tools specifically. And those 6 tools are MagicSchool.ai, Diffit. I know on the thing it said Drift, but it's actually Diffit. Sometimes it corrects itself to drift for some reason because Diffit doesn't sound like a word. And then Almanack, Perplexity, HuggingChat, and SlidesGo. I have examples for each of them, and I'll show you how they are working as well. So before we begin, I'm hoping that you guys can put in the chat real quick for me. What subject do you teach and your favorite topic of a lesson plan that you've done before? What subject do you teach and what's a topic for a lesson plan that you've done before? You can put that in the chat. Let's see. Oh, awesome. What's your subject and what's the topic of your favorite lesson plan? So for example, I'm an English teacher by trade, and my favorite lesson was a PBL lesson on Frankenstein, the book. Still one of my favorites. Nice. I see mathematics, a lot of English teachers. Right on, right on. Probably a lot of ELS teachers. Physics, mechanics. And the reason I'm asking you this is because some of the tools are going to ask us to put in specific information. And so I'd like you to see it through your perspective, not just through mine as an English teacher. Right. Functional conversation. I love that. Nice. All right. Keep popping those in the chat, and I'm just going to go over a couple of things to help you. So one thing, when you're using AI, and especially if you're using it for the classroom and whatnot, it's really good to understand how to use AI effectively, but also cautiously. So with students in AI, especially since some of these are recommended for students only, and I'll tell you which ones are for student use, we have a policy of no personal information. You'll see on my slides too, just a preface. I worked in China for 3 years, so all my slides are translated to Mandarin, the simplified Mandarin. And so you'll see bilingual on the slides, just to make it, yeah, just so you know. So students in AI, make sure they're not putting any personal information. And this goes for us as teachers as well. So putting our name, birthday, your favorite colors, likes and dislikes. These are personal information items that could be used to they're collecting data. And so a lot of the AI is collecting data on us and how we use it. And so it's really good to not put any personal information online in general. When we're using AI materials, I always tell students nothing should be produced for you. So you should do the brunt of the thinking work. As teachers, we are doing the brunt of the thinking in the classroom. So these tools that I'm showing you today are meant to help you think, like to help you expand your creative thinking rather than just always thinking about like, oh, I need to do, this or that or something, or I need to put this together. And how do I put this lesson plan together if I don't have any ideas for like my exit tickets or my my conversation pieces and things like that. And so part of this is meant to kind of oh, nice. Just so you know, just nothing should be produced for you, especially for students who are still learning how to think. So, and I have this 80-20 rule when it comes to AI use and the students. 80% is always me, it's always the student, and 20% is any kind of support or help, and that includes translation. And so if you kind of keep this in mind, this kind of 80-20 rule, it really helps kind of foster students to kind of use technology and use AI more responsibly. Also, a really good thing to put into your syllabi for your classes is a misuse policy. What it does is it kind of encompasses AI and other ways that technology could be misused in the classroom. And it holds students accountable to not use AI just to generate their information. As you know, a lot of students, a big one is ChatGPT, which we're not going to go over today. And ChatGPT, that generative AI tool, a lot of students misuse it. And so part of us as teachers is putting a misuse policy into our actual classroom so that we can say, hey, if you use AI, and I compare it to this other piece that you did where I know you didn't use AI because we did it in the classroom and we typed it in the classroom, then I'm going to start looking at how you're using AI as students. And so just to kind of preface today, if students use AI, these are really good things to kind of help you gauge how students should be using AI. All right, let's go into our tools. First tool is MagicSchool.ai. I love MagicSchool.ai because it's a teacher resource website where you can create comments, rubrics, lessons, and support materials. And it's quite easy to use as well. It's good for sending out communications, especially as a second or third language learner or whatever language that English is for you or for your students. Sometimes it's hard to get the words together. And so I think Magic School does a really good job. They also have a coaching tool called Raina that could help you think through ideas and standards as well. So there is a free version, and I do believe when you sign up, you get 30 days of the upgraded version, and then you get downgraded to the free version after 30 days. I don't know if that's still happening or not. But let's go to the tabs. All right, so here is Magic School AI. And this is one of my favorite tools, mostly because it's user-friendly. So what Magic School does is it's going through ChatGPT for the downgraded version and set just that 3.5 version. And it's using a teacher lens in order to understand how to kind of ask it like specific focused questions. So for example, I have some tabs already open here to kind of give examples. If you want to use a lesson plan generator, when I used a lesson plan generator before, that lesson plan generator, it wasn't very strong, but they've upgraded actually a lot over the last year, and their lesson plans are actually quite strong. And I really like how they put some things together. And so, for example, when you're asking it to do a lesson plan, it'll come up with this template for you to look at. You want to make sure you choose your grade level. I like that they've added pre-K and they've added post as well for professional university. Those weren't around when they first came out a couple of years back or a few years back. Then you want to add your topic, standard, or objective. So like students will be able to, students will do this. So in kindergarten, they do a lot of gardening at the schools that I work with. And so students will read a short story aloud with the teacher about gardening. That's going to be kind of our topic. And then additional criteria is that I need a short story to read about gardening. So I need the story. I need questions about the short story to ask the students. And standards set to align. There's the standard with prompting and support. Students identify the main topic and retell key ideas of the text. So that's a standard I'm focusing on. So when I press this generate button, it'll then generate a lesson plan for me that is about what I've asked it to be about. Now, you're not going to just cut and paste this lesson plan because, again, and you see it has even the standards here for literacy. What it does is it gives you a standard objective, right? Students will be able to listen attentively to a short story about gardening, identify the main topic, and retell key ideas, key details with prompting and support. It gives you your assessment, so your backwards planning. It gives you the key points of your lesson, an opening, introduction, guided practice, independent practice, and closing, an extension activity, and potential homework, and also the standards to be addressed. So if you are submitting lesson plans and you're like, I don't have any ideas for this unit that we have, or I want more ideas, it's really good to go in here and actually ask it to create a lesson plan from the ideas that you already have and see what it can kind of put together for you. You can also come here and edit the prompt and redo this and regenerate it and change some things if you don't like what it gave you the first time. And so that's just the lesson plan format. Another one I like is a professional email. I send out a lot of emails to parents, to students, and other professionals in there. And so a lot of the times I need support on like how to send out that email and sound professional and not sound the same in every single email that I send. And so here I'll put colleague because I don't put personal information online. So I'm not going to put my colleague's name in this email. Addressing a student who is not doing well in my class, but is doing well in their class. How can we work together to support the student? Do they have any ideas? Right? And so I'll say generate a letter for me. So what it does is it says dear colleague's name, right? You can just cut and paste that and edit that out. I hope this message finds you well. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude for the support you provided for our students. I've noticed that one of the students is struggling in my class while they seem to be performing. So right here, you can see it's a very generalized letter. So you would just take this, copy it here, paste it into your email, and then edit it for your actual email out. And so sometimes it will address exactly what you want it to, and sometimes it'll give you something that you don't really like. So you can always just regenerate it by editing your prompt and adding more details to it. Or when you generate it, you'll see that below it will have some suggestions for you, could share specific strategies to help. What resources do you recommend, right? And you can add those to the email and it will regenerate with that ad. And so that's really fun as well. Multiple choice assessments. I don't know about you, but I have a really hard time creating my own test. And a lot of schools now in the US actually have created all the assessments for students, including formative and summative assessments. But when I was working in China, we had to create everything ourselves. And if you're trying to create everything yourself all the time, I don't know about you, but my creative juices just go away. I have none after like the first 3 months. And so this tool helps you create multiple assessments for your class. So for example, we have in 10th grade, we have biology, and someone put in the system in the chat that they do human systems. I want 5 questions. Now I want 10 questions on it because they're in 10th grade on human systems. And I can put some standards in there if I want to, put as much information in here as you want it to kind of spit back out to you. But right now I'm going to just put that in there and see what it generates for me. And so as you see, it does multiple choice questions for me and all the answers are below. And you could just come here, copy it. You can edit it. You can export it as a PDF and whatnot. I usually copy it and put it into a Word document so I can edit it more in my own systems. But you can do this for so many. So again, if you don't like what it did, edit your prompt and then change it up. Like I have 10th graders, but they're reading at a 6th grade level. And so I need some questions that are more at their level of questioning rather than at the 10th grade level of questioning. Things like that. And then I can ask it to regenerate with the new information and then will regenerate for me. So it's actually quite interesting. And like I said, it's a free program. You can always pay for the upgraded version, but there is a free program. It just goes through Chat GPT 3.5 instead of going through Chat GPT 4. Let's see, I have a worksheet generator, rubric generator, and informational text generator. This is one I really like just because if you're an English teacher and you're like, I need something, like I have to create stories for my students to read. News ELA starts charging money now, so I can't get all my information from them anymore. Or I need like short, quick paragraphs for kids. And all the paragraphs online or all the articles online are like 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs, but I just want 1 paragraph in length. This one will actually create information for you. So MagicSchool AI just operates through English. And so there is not another language option for MagicSchool. But for some of our other tools, there are going to be options for language changing, because as somebody who works in China, sometimes I do things for for people who are speaking Mandarin. And so I need to have materials in Mandarin for them, or at least translated to Mandarin. All right, so that's our first tool. We'll go back to the PPT, and I've lost my share option. So our next tool is Diffit. Diffit is actually a resource builder and maker for your class readings and PDFs. Students can't use Diffit, but if teachers use it, they can't enter any student personal information into the program. So just remember, again, that personal information. And so let me show you Diffit. So I'm going to be going back and forth between the presentation, like presenting 2 different screens. And so hopefully it doesn't make anybody sick. All right, so Diffit looks like this when you log in. You don't always have to log in to use Diffit, but it gives you access to the full thing that it actually produces if you log in with your email. So you have 3 options when you're using Diffit. You can put in any kind of text here. So for example, basic hygiene is one of the ones we did before. We're going to do 4th grade, and then I can choose any language that's on this list here if you see. So there's tons of languages here I can choose it in. But for today's purposes, I'm going to do it in English so that I can read it. All right, and so if I press generate resource, this one takes a little bit longer to generate, but I like what it generates. And so if you look at the information, so this is basic hygiene for 4th grade. Remember, we're doing 4th grade. And so it gives you a passage for them to read, a summary of that passage, key vocabulary words, multiple choice questions, short answer questions, and open-ended prompts like you can ask in the classroom, do for discussions, create essays off of, things like that. And so that's a lot of fun for Diffit. You can also come up here and say, actually, I want to do it for 6th grade because I need 6th graders to be a little bit more clean. This class might have missed their opportunity. So you can just do that, change it, and then regenerate the program. And as it's regenerating, it's going to regenerate for that grade level itself. And so you'll see here, it changed the picture for you. But it's adapted the reading passage for you, the summary, the key vocabulary, the multiple choice. So it's all adapted now to 6th grade. You can also translate it into whatever language you choose as well. So, and it has a ton of languages. And as somebody who works in China, I translated it to Mandarin, and my Chinese teacher said that the translation was actually really, really good. And as you'll see here, they have all kinds of pictures and images for you to use for your PowerPoints. Look at that. So many. It's so great. I love it. Okay, so another thing that Diffit does is that you can actually do an article or video. So what I did before we started today is I did a YouTube video on the history of California, because that's where I live. And so what I did was I put in the YouTube video link, and then, oh, not the history of California, on a monologue from a website. So I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Oedipus the King before, but what I did was I took the link from the website and from the article, so learn about the tragic hero, Oedipus. So it gives you all these old things that kind of relate to Oedipus and whatnot, including the book cover. And then it adapted a reading passage that kind of summarized the story itself. And then it gave you a summary of the reading passage, key vocabulary again, multiple choice questions, and short answer, open-ended prompts. And this was adapted for 8th grade. I can then come up here to 11th grade and regenerate it, and it will do that as well. Now, one cool thing about Diffit is that if you wanted to, it could actually create, I don't have the capabilities anymore because I don't have the upgraded version anymore. But once you go through here and you go to the bottom here, you can actually have it create worksheets for you as well. So it does create worksheets, which is really, really cool. So, and it also saves your worksheets over here. So these are worksheets that I had created previously that it kind of saved for me over here. And I can export these to PDF. I can print them and save them as a PDF and things like that. And so that's why I like about Diffit, because it uses so many great resources. You can actually add in a specific text. You can upload a PDF from your computer. You can keep the original grade level reading, or you can change it. So you can upload a PDF of a reading that you're doing, and say it's at like 9th grade level, but you have students who are reading at 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. You can you can have the text generate it at 4th, 5th, and 6th grade level, along with questions, short answers, and things like that. So I really like Diffit. It's one of my favorites. Always. Okay, so our next tool is Almanack. Almanack is very similar to Diffit. So it's a resource maker, and there is a free standard version of Almanack. And so let me show you how Almanack works. As you can see, I have all my tabs here. I think we can ask at the end. Okay, so for Almanack, what I really like about Almanack is that it makes you choose a grade level and standards and things like that. And so if you go into Almanack and you go into like lesson planning, you can say new lesson course, and you can type in a new course. So if I decided to do physics, which I know nothing about, I can then create a new course, grade level. I took physics in 11th grade, so I'm going to say, and then I can align to international curriculum or state standards. And then I can choose which curriculum or standards to address that are across the world. And so you can see all the countries here and all of their standards. And I could choose which one I wanted to actually take from. So like I live in the US, so I'll do the US standards. I think I saw here. So you have all these, or you can choose to not align it and just to create the class itself. So what happens when you don't align standards is that it's a little bit harder for you to, you have to put in more information for the program. And so what I'm going to do here is go to all the AI tools. Now, I have created like 5 different classes in here. So 5 different ones. So we can go into worksheets. So my courses are technology, 2nd grade social studies for 7th grade, music, and AP macroeconomics, which I know nothing about, again, for any of these except for technology. And so I can come in here and say, hey, I need a worksheet for, here you go. I need a worksheet for this class. So I would say I need a worksheet for my social studies, 7th grade social studies. The lesson title is on apartheid South Africa. We're using standards from America, so it's very American centric. My apologies. Learning objectives are already in there because I'm using the standards from the US. And then I can say, how do I want the worksheet to look like? And so I want 5 multiple choice questions and a matching section and a section for writing short answer, right? So what it does then is it generates it for me, which I really like. So there's my 5 multiple choice. Here's my matching. Sometimes it doesn't match well. Like you'll see things are missing, and I'll just press regenerate and see what it gives me the second time. Remember, it is using AI, and so AI sometimes can go wrong. So just be aware. If it does go wrong, you're gonna say looks good, open an editor, and then you can edit it yourself. And then when you export it, you can export it as a Google Doc, as a PDF, things like that. You can also change the theme so that the font and colors change as well. And so that's also really fun. Let's go back to the home. And then also, so all these AI tools are available. We have slide decks, worksheets, quizzes, and test worksheets, videos, lesson planning, exemplar responses, word searches, Jeopardy, all kinds of things. Yeah, this is all free. I don't pay for any of these. I don't like paying for things because I'm poor and I'm a teacher. And so all of these things are free. So that's why I like these a lot. And I don't really use this for slide decks because I have a better slide deck AI maker for you today, but you can use this for slides. You can also use this for quizzes and tests. So you can then, again, choose your course that you created, so music, Lesson plan is on playing well based off of learning objectives. And then I can add in instructions if I wanted to, but I could say start editing questions. Okay, so here's where I got a little confused was my assessment building. I say, I want multiple choice questions on this. I want 5, add. And then it kind of like adds, okay, cool. And then I want true and false questions, but I want only 3 of these. But you don't see it building anything below. Trust the process. It does build below for you. And then I want 1 essay question for students. All right. And so once you do that, you just go to export with answers, export as a PDF for today. And then you'll see that it's built out your quiz for you. So it did it, and you see all the answers are A. So if you're creating a quiz for your classes, things like that, you might want to, like if you're creating it in Canvas or you're creating it in Schoology, you might want to have your answers mix up like on your thing. But you can see here it created the quiz just fine for me, which was great. And there's your essay question at the top. You can export this, you can download the export. There's all kinds of options for exporting as well. And so, yeah, you see, you can do it as a GIMP kit, you can do it as quizzes, Kahoot, Quizlet, Booklet. So all these lovely programs, you can actually download the CSV to use in other programs as well. So that's Almanack. Almanack is one that is fun to play around with. So I would say play around as much as you can with Almanack because when it generates things for you, the generation thing is sometimes it's not really good. And so you want the next thing. And then if you look here in your home, you'll see that everything that I've had it generate is here for me. So all the lessons I've had it do for me are right here. So even the generated, like I say, generate again, 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 it regenerates everything, but it saves it all for you as well. So you can look back at everything that it generated for you as well. And so that's fun. All right, so our next tool is, let's go back to the slides. Our next tool is Perplexity. The next 2 tools operate the same, Perplexity and HuggingChat. They basically for Perplexity, oh, see, I love Perplexity as well. Perplexity is my favorite of the 2, and I'll tell you why. They basically operate the same way as ChatGPT, where you ask it a question and it gives you an answer. You ask it a question and it gives you an answer. So I love it. I love both of these quite a lot. So Perplexity, you ask it a question, it gives you an answer, and it gives you the links to the information. So before we had, today I said, what is the meaning of life? So it looks up the meaning of life for me for philosophical, practical approaches, related content. And then if you go up here, all your resources of where it got the information from. So the reason I like Perplexity is because it gives you your source material. Where did this information come from? What is it kind of coming up with, right? So if I ask it a question like, can you give me 5 questions on functional conversations for 6th graders in English class? It'll generate those kind of questions for me. You can search images, videos. You can have it generate images for you, all kinds of fun stuff. Right? And so the same thing goes for HuggingChat. HuggingChat is the same, but there's no resources. So it just operates just like generative AI. So I asked it before, what is the meaning of life? And it gives me philosophical, religious, scientific, personal. So it gives me a bit more, but it gives me no resources, which really frustrates me. This is a system that was presented to me by an elementary teacher who used it for her students in elementary class because it kind of filters out some of the bad stuff. And so that's why I like HuggingChat. And so I can ask it a question on how do I create a lesson on human systems and biology for ninth graders. And it will generate. What's really funny about HuggingChat is that if you go over here and then you come back, it'll stop generating until you're on the page. So it just kind of takes, it only generates if you're on the page, which I think is really, really funny. But it's giving a lot of really good information. And so it's generating a lesson plan on human systems, and it looks like it's a multiple day lesson plan as well. Wow. As somebody who is not a science teacher, I don't know what you would do for this in actual class. So it's a 3-day lesson plan. Now, as you'll see, that it doesn't give a lot of information. There's no final assessment. You're not working backwards or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you are using the strategies as a teacher that you want to use. And so fun times. So those are two. Perplexity and HuggingChat are just generative AI, basic, ask it a question, it gives you an answer kind of applications. So that's what I like about those two, both HuggingChat and Perplexity. The last tool is this guy, SlidesGo. Now, from my understanding, a lot of people have used SlidesGo before, but they didn't know it had an AI generating system. So just so you know, SlidesGo is a place you can go to get all kinds of slides to use in your classroom that you can download for free. And so if you look here, there's all kinds of fun slides and slide patterns for you to download for free for your classes. There's even a whole Disney section. So if you're an elementary teacher or if you're a high school teacher whose kids love Disney, there's a Disney PowerPoint slides as well, which is really cool. And you can download these for free from the website. But what I want to show you today is actually the AI generator. There are 4 AI generators in SlidesGo. There's an AI presentation maker, an icebreaker, an exit ticket, and a lesson plan generator. And we'll look at all 4. 3, 4. So the first one is a presentation maker. You can get started. You can say, and I like how it says it already has a topic there for you. So I say double digit multiplication. Writing tone. I want to make it fun because I like having fun in my classroom no matter what grade level kids are in. Language is auto, but I can choose from all these languages here. So not as many options as Diffit, but quite a few. Diffit and Almanack, I think, have more options, but quite a few options still. And then number of slides, I want 10 slides. So I've given it a topic. I've given it a focus. I want it to be nice and colorful, and it doesn't really give you very many options for the slides actual presentation itself. So you kind of have to just choose what it gives you for now, and then generate presentation. And so while it's generating your presentation, you'll see that the presentation is going to present to you a really fun way of talking about multiplication. So multiplication madness, mastering double digits with a smile. So that's the fun section of it. And if you look here on the left-hand side, you can now change the template and update the template. And then if you go here, you'll see that it'll give you information on double digit multiplication. It is a lot like Canva, but it has more slides. It's more about slides than it is about like other. I think Canva has more usage sometimes because it has you can create some things yourself. But the interface is very like Canva. And you'll see it has it, but it's not very user friendly, I think, sometimes, because these slides are really nice, but there's a lot of writing on here. And when you're doing multiplication with students, you need it to be like more of the come up here on the board and actually do this multiplication problem, not all this writing. But if you're working on reading and trying to understand reading longer sorry, if you're trying to understand how to read longer paragraphs on multiplication, things like that, it's really, really cool. But that's the AI presentation maker. The one downside for it is that you can't choose a grade level. So you've got to kind of grade it off yourself. But it actually creates a nice like presentation for you in the first place. All right, next. Icebreakers. Beginning of the school year is coming up for a lot of kids in the US, and a lot of people in Australia. They're in the middle of the school year and having like a quick little winter break and things like that. And so when you come back and you've been gone for a while, you want icebreakers, but sometimes you cannot keep doing the same old icebreakers. Like, tell me what you did over the break, or name two truths and a lie, things like that. So here you can actually have it create icebreakers for you for your class. So like getting to know you. I can choose the level that I want. So I want children's up to 12 years old, more than 15 participants. And then I can choose my language if I want. I'm going to do English just for today and generate. And what it does is it generates an icebreaker for you. So my favorite things, guess who I am, and favorite things, bingo. So it's 3 different icebreakers that you can potentially do in your class. And you can kind of read through. It tells you what materials you need, the directions, and then what the purpose of the icebreaker is as well. And so I really like this icebreaker one just because as a teacher, it is so hard to get good icebreakers. So all you have to do to get here is go to SlidesGo and then go to the AI, and it's the second one, icebreaker generator. So it's all on SlidesGo. And then what about your exit ticket? And so if you're doing your exit ticket, key topics and briefly describe your lesson. Let's do functional conversations. Don't mind my typing with 3rd graders. Elementary school. Let's do self-evaluation for them in English. Generate. Magic is happening, which I think is hilarious because we just did MagicSchool AI. And then your exit tickets, they generate 3 exit tickets for you. And so you'll see here, the goal is to assess students' understanding of functional conversations with 3rd graders. Exit ticket exercises. Now, because it's so generalized, you need to read through these before you use them or go into them. So make sure that you're reading through them, because I can already see by reading these that I'm not going to like these as my exit ticket and I need it to regenerate later. I can say go back to generator and try it again, try it a different thing, or I can just take it and edit it, whatever works for me. All right, and the last one is a lesson plan generator. All the applications have the ability to generate lesson type of things. But what I've noticed with the lesson plan generators is that they're just missing that human element of like, we know our students, we know differentiation, we know all of our IEPs in the classroom, 504 plans. And so the lesson plans don't account for that, but they do account for idea building. So if you're just tired of like, I can't figure out my ideas, that's what this is for. It's just giving you ideas for lesson planning. So for example, I can say, let's see, mitosis. Hopefully I spelled that wrong. I mean, right, for high school. And you can choose if it's going to be remote, in person, or hybrid. So let's say it's hybrid learning in English. Generate. So what it will do is it will generate a lesson plan on that topic for me. The more information you give it, the stronger it will generate lesson plan information. You can ask it to generate lesson plans that will help you with differentiation. I think Magic School helps with differentiation a lot, and Diffit, because you can change the grade level quite easily in order for it to generate the same content at different grade levels. So that's where a lot of our differentiation and support can come from. But we have to ask it to generate. It won't generate differentiation for us. And so you'll see here for this lesson 10 on mitosis, you'll see objectives, materials that are needed for the day, instruction, exploring, and applying, and assessment. So you're looking at a hour and 10-minute lesson. And then there's also a warm-up and extension activity as well. And an assessment to kind of backwards plan from. I always go to the assessment first and make sure that it's hitting my standards. And then I look at the rest of it. And so SlidesGo does have a lesson plan generator. It's not as strong, I think, as the other applications, but it still is pretty awesome what it does. And so, yeah. So those are the 6 AI tools that I use. And then I've used for the last 2 years or longer. And I like them all. I like every single one of them. I use them all at different levels and understandings. And yeah, so I can now open the floor up for questions. You wanted to post some questions in the chat?
Wow, that was amazing. Wow. Everybody's so impressed, and so am I. Thank you so much for that. Okay, there were some questions about differentiation, I think from some, and I think you mentioned, but maybe you can say something about that again.
Yeah. So for differentiation, a lot of the programs don't have an actual like accommodation section where it accommodates for different levels. But just like I said before, with Diffit, you can change the grade level so that you're creating your own readings at different grade levels about the same topic. So for example, if you go into Diffit and you put in a URL for a YouTube video, that you really like about a topic, it'll create the original content for you. So it'll create for YouTube videos, it'll create a script for you, and then it will create a summary of the video for you, multiple choice questions, vocabulary, and all that things for you at the grade level you choose. But say you're an 8th grade teacher, but you've got students who are still at 4th and 5th grade level. When it comes to reading, you can say regenerate on the same link at that grade level or a grade level above to kind of push them a little bit above. And you can have it regenerate and it will create those materials for you at that grade level that you choose. So the differentiation comes in how you ask it and what kind of information you're giving it and how you ask it for that information as well. Let's see.
Oh, there's a question there. Maybe I can read it for you. I can't imagine how to use AI inside my classroom with students with different learning styles or students with disabilities, autism. For instance, I know that AI can achieve, well, can be successful with fixed criteria, but that's not true. You can have so many different differentiation in the classroom. It doesn't have to be one for all. Do you want to also explain that?
Yeah, so one cool thing about like things like Perplexity and things like that is that you could ask it explicitly to differentiate for you for content that you're using. You don't have to have the same readings, but you can have the same topics, right? So when we're actually creating lessons for students, we're creating them off the standards that we're working and focusing on. And so that standard could have a multitude of ways to kind of tackle it in different different topics and whatnot. And so you can use things like Perplexity to go on there and say, I need to differentiate the standard into 5 different grade levels: 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Can you create a lesson plan that helps me differentiate to those, 5 grade levels? And then it will create something for you, but it will also give you the information on where you got it from, like where they got the information from, so you can go back and look at the resources that it's getting that information from for that lesson plan. And yes, you can apply. I see that, suppose one can apply these. You can apply them at the university level. If you saw in Magic School, it goes up to college and university level and professional as well. So like post college, using it in the professional realm, which is really cool, I think, especially as people like me who teach teachers. It kind of helps us to kind of put professional things together. And then also, I think most of them go up to at least university, so at least undergrad. So I just asked, somebody asked for a list of all 6 tools. These are the 6 tools here: MagicSchool AI, Perplexity, SlidesGo. These are the 6 tools that we went over for today. Let's see. Yeah, it was a lot of information, and I speak very quickly, so my apologies if some of it got overdone.
Let me add Hugging Chat. There's HuggingChat. I didn't add that. Sorry. For those who missed it.
Yeah, sometimes I have to apply my activities.
No, I think 6 was a wonderful idea because it was a good pace, and I think we got to know it really well. So sometimes you get 10 plus, but I think 6 is an excellent number. So thank you for that, for minimizing it.
Feedback. So
yeah, go ahead.
Someone asks about creating games. Almanack helps to create games. And so Almanack has in their AI tools, if you scroll down, they have like Jeopardy game, bingo game, and a whole bunch of games you can create for your classes that it does for you. But it doesn't create the game. Like, so it doesn't create it you like actually playing the game. It just creates the questions for you to then input into a game or create from your slides. But it does create the questions for you, which sometimes that's more difficult for me as a creative side of things. And a lot of these apps focus on the creative side. So trying to generate things creatively over and over again, these apps help with that process.
For those who are interested, you can copy the chat. Everyone can copy, and then you get all the links and everything. And if you came in later and you missed something, so copy the chat.
All right, and someone asked about,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Someone asked about feedback forms. I think MagicSchool AI has a feedback form option, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't gone through all of them because there's so many now. I think there's over 50 different options for MagicSchool. But if you wanted it to create a feedback form, you can actually use Perplexity for that, because it will give you the link to potential forms and it will create and generate images for you. And you can also go into Diffit and ask Diffit to create something that's more aligned with the feedback and whatnot. And so both of those programs I think would be really good for feedback. I'm looking through the chat.
Oh, there was something. Did you answer about the images for slides? There was a question there, how to where they can get for free images for the PowerPoint presentations.
Oh, you can just get, so in SlidesGo has an AI generator, but SlidesGo has, I'm not going to say thousands, but probably hundreds of different types of PPTs. And so if you go into SlidesGo and you look at there and just scroll down to the slides themselves, you don't have to use the AI presentation maker or the AI generator at all. You could just go in there and get all kinds of slides. And so if you use SlidesGo just for slides, that's a lot of teachers, they had heard of SlidesGo because they just use it for PPTs. I just found out that they did AI, they added the AI maker about a year and a half ago. And I thought that was really cool that they added that AI portion, but SlidesGo is really, really good for slides. You can also use Canva, of course, for slides. You can go into, if you look at the slides that I created here, you can actually come into here and go into the designer tool, and it will actually help to design your tool. This is PowerPoint Online, Microsoft 365 Online, and then it will design some other ways to make this page look a little brighter for you and kind of specify it in the designer tool. So everybody's kind of got these really great AI components now, which I think is really cool. So someone asked about and it's Amani, about the AI tools to generate ideas. So the reason why I'm more strict with students using AI tools than teachers is because we have the knowledge, capacity, education, experience, and understanding on how to use AI tools effectively and to help it with our learning and supporting what we've already learned. Students are still learning how to think, how to generate, how to critically think about things. And if they just use AI to generate, then they're missing out on those critical thinking steps that we learned actually going through and thinking through things ourselves. AI for students is a tool that they can use to generate, but we also want to make sure we teach them how to use it well for their learning, not just to create for them. Because if students lose that creative power or that creativeness, then I feel like they're missing out on something in education in general. So that's why I usually don't use AI with students very often. And if I do, it's heavily monitored because they're missing out on that critical thinking piece if they're just using it to generate for them. Like these are things that us as adults, we've learned how to do in education because we were here before AI.
I'll keep repeating myself. Here, I'm putting the recording is the YouTube video. That's the recording. When you stream from Zoom or from other virtual classes like Zoom, when you stream, that's the recording. So the recording is that. Okay, it's a live stream, and you can share that, and you can watch it over and over again.
So
okay.
again, for a lot of these tools, someone said, I use Perplexity for my project. Awesome. But I'm scared that, so these tools, again, 80-20 rule, 80-20, 80% needs to be you created it yourself. And 20% is AI if you're using it for your personal education. So I have the same rule for my students. 80% is you and 20% is anything that you got help from. So any resources, any AI, things like that. So just be very aware that if you're using this for your education purposes, you will get found out if you are generating from AI fully and using more than 20%. And a lot of schools have AI policies now that say you can only have AI up to 25% or 15% even, or you can't use it at all. So if we put you through a plagiarism checker and your information comes out at 20% or higher, you're going to fail this assignment. So make sure that you are, if you're using it for your own personal school purposes, 80-20, 80% is everything you've created, 20% is AI is helping you in some way, but it's not creating it for you. Let's see. I'm getting there. I see a lot of recordings.
Yeah.
So you can use a lot of these apps. It says, somebody said, how can we use this in countries where computers are not available? If you have a cell phone, a lot of these apps work on cell phones for generating. information, and so you can use it on a cell phone with your browser function. And so yeah, they can use on some places you need a VPN, but not for all places.
All right. So I think we've exhausted you. Thank you.